Beyond that, emotional involvement is at the center of all our relationships. Admitting to emotional involvement may make the betrayal even worse. Last, let us say, if we have a point of view, it is because the facts point in one direction. We cannot find a way to make the case for a different point of view. In The House on the Strand, a novel by Daphne du Maurier, the main character is a man named Dick Young. At one point, Dick says, "Truth is the hardest thing to put across." We agree, and we would define truth as that which corresponds to facts. Truth is not what we wish to be true or what we would hope to be true. Truth is what corresponds to facts. Thousands of people wrote us. They had a story to tell. This book is the explanation of that story. Chapter 1. Your World Overturned. There are times when fortune inflicts wounds that simply won't heal, when the story of a life breaks into two distinct sections, a before and an after. Maurizio Veroli, biographer. My wife attended night classes with a former workmate and friend. He is really good-looking, and so is she. On the last night of class together, I followed them to a bar. After they came out, she gave him a big hug. They drove down a dark road and parked in a poorly lit small park. I couldn't see what they were doing, but I can only imagine. 45 minutes later, they drove back to where she was parked and hugged. I couldn't tell if they kissed. When my wife got home, she was very nervous. Later, when we were in bed, I asked her if she went out and celebrated. She said no. I asked why she and her friends didn't go to a bar or do something. She said they got out late. When I asked if our friend was there, she said he had to leave early. Every time I gave her a chance to tell me what she did, she lied, and not only lied, but sounded sure about it. After a couple of hours of not being able to sleep, I woke her up. She again denied doing anything. After a long silence, I told her I knew she was at the bar. She said, "Yes, I forgot. I had one drink and came right home." Finally, I told her I knew everything. She would not confess to being in the park until I told her I saw them together. Then she said all they did was talk. I called our friend the next day and asked him the same questions. He lied. When I told him what I knew, he could hardly talk. My wife said she would call our friend and tell him not to call her anymore. He wasn't supposed to know I was listening, but it sounded like they talked beforehand and got their story straight. Before this, she hardly ever wanted sex, and I had to ask. Now she is all over me. She won't show me her phone records from work or her work cell phone. She says they would be hard to get, but she is the facility coordinator, so she can get just about anything. I love my wife, but only want the truth. We can work through this if only she will be honest. I guess my question would be if you think they had something going on. Frank. The pattern of betrayal is familiar, even archetypal. Admit nothing. If that is not possible, admit only what is already known. It is the same pattern played out in police stations and criminal courts every day. As one woman told us about her cheating husband, denial has become his best friend. There is simply no advantage to a cheater in telling the truth, nor will there ever be. The advantage lies in denial and minimizing. That's what Frank, the author of this letter, learned the hard way. Usually affairs are discussed as if they are a single act of betrayal. They are not. Even a one-night stand consists of scores of mental acts, and an ongoing relationship with a third party represents thousands of separate mental acts of deception. In the letter above, Frank's wife decided to meet another man in a bar, leave with the other man instead of going home, get in the other man's car, not her own, drive to a secluded location, engage in acts she would conceal from her husband. At each one of these points and many others, she could have stopped, but she didn't. When confronted by her husband, she chose to lie repeatedly. Frank came into the last 30 minutes of a 2-hour movie. He wants to know the plot, and he has only one person to ask.